Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Herd Fit Podcast with Dr. Sam Marie and myself, Coach David Syvertson. This podcast is aimed at helping anyone and everyone looking to enhance their healthy lifestyle through fitness, nutrition, and most importantly, mindset. All right, welcome back to the Herd Fit Podcast. I am Coach David Syvertson. I got two really special guests, coaches and athletes and quarterfinalists in Bob Wallum and Dan Coda, both from the Bison crew, one of 70 CrossFit Bison athletes that have qualified for the quarterfinals this weekend. They start tomorrow, technically, unless you're a cheater. You started yesterday or today. We'll talk about that a little bit, but we're here to break down the 2026 quarterfinal workouts. What we're not going to do is bash the workouts, complain about the workouts, because there is a time and place to talk about, was the programming sufficient or not? Was it done correctly? Blah, blah, blah. Everyone has an opinion on it, but we're not going to do that. The best athletes I know and the best coaches I know and the best programmers I know, they just see a task and they plan on how they're going to go about that workout. To me, any sort of negative thoughts on the programming itself will take some wind out of your sail. So you're already building in excuses for yourself, which will make your performance decrease, but also can kind of have a negative impact on the room that you're in. And we're big here at Bison. I strongly believe in the fact that a lot of us can reach our ceiling because of who's around us and what's going on around us. So we're going to try to keep this workout focused. That's it. And what we're going to do, we're going to break down all four workouts from two different perspectives. One of them is, hey, my goal is to make semifinals. What do I need to do? Not necessarily what does your score need to be, but more macro level, what should your goal be for the workout in terms of executing a plan? What should your strategy be? What are you going to need to do? And don't shoot for minimums. That will never be a winning plan. You always want to be on the more aggressive side. I do that every time I compete. I go for a goal that probably cannot obtain, but that is the goal for that particular workout, because shooting for the minimum is for losers. The second approach that we'll talk about with each workout is, hey, this was my goal. I wanted to make quarters. I want to participate. I want to give my best effort. What do I need to do? What should I expect? What is coming my way? I might not even know what kind of pain is coming my way with each individual workout. So we'll touch on all those guys for you. But before I get into that, we have two athletes that have a ton of competing experience. Between the three of us, it's well over 3 decades of competing experience. Bobby was top 10 at the games last year, so it's really cool to get his perspective on things, because that's cream of the crop. That's what the top athletes shoot for, and that really does help. Even though that I'm personally not on that level, it helps me understand what he's going through mentally. And if I can just kind of chase that somewhat, that means I'm on a great path. Dan, if there's at Bison, the most competitive gym in the world, if you ask everyone in our gym, who is the most into this, who's the most passionate, who tries to find every nook and cranny to enhance his performance legally, all right, the answer would be Dan. And I think that I can't tell you how many times I've had a discussion with Dan about, it started off as strategy, as sport, and all of a sudden 27 minutes later, I've missed my workout window and we're talking about where to put your pinky on dumbbell thrusters. So it's going to be a fun, interesting conversation. We're going to try to speed it up. But before we get into the workout individually, Bobby, we'll start with you. Where is your head at as a competitor 24 hours before a pretty difficult test of workouts that you need to do especially you, in a very short amount of time? Where does your head go right now? What can you help out some other people with?
My head really just strategizing how I'm going to plan on doing the workouts, right? That does play a role, especially only having a few days to do it. For me, I'm trying to get them done in 2 days. So I really need to make sure I know how I'm going to plan those workouts out. I think I have a pretty good idea. Starting with the row one and finishing with the deadlift ones. For me, that's going to be the one that's going to tax me the most. So just knowing kind of which one is going to be the most taxing on your body, which one's kind of more in your wheelhouse, and go from there, I think is the best way to approach that.
Cool. Dan, what about you? What's going on through your head right now?
Yeah, so right now I'm really focusing on my nutrition and hydration leading up to the competition, really making sure that I'm getting in even a little extra calories in more than I would normally would, just so I'm like my body's ready to start recovery as soon as I get done with these workouts, and making sure I have, I'm doing a little bit extra electrolytes, but making sure I'm drinking enough water throughout the day, on top of, strategizing what order I'm going to do these in and how that's going to play a role.
Yeah, awesome. So speaking of strategizing, what we're going to do is we're just going to go workouts 1 through 4. Maybe we'll touch on what order we think you guys can do these in. Some of that is more dictated by your personal schedule or your gym schedule. I want to say don't stress too much about it. I think people stress way too much. Like if you can come up with an ideal plan, absolutely go for it. And if you know your body best, what you recover from, what you don't. But don't stress too much. Don't let that be an added stressor to an already stressful weekend for yourself, mentally, physically, some of you emotionally. Come up with a plan, talk to a couple people, but once you commit to it, just go for it. So we're going to talk about them in order as released, not necessarily the order we think you should do them in, because you're going to get a lot of different opinions on that. So the first thing we'll do is talk about, let me make sure I do this correctly. Workout 1 is probably the shortest one of the weekend. And I would say the most intense in terms of how fast, how many reps you're trying to do per minute. And it's 10 50-foot shuttle runs. You're going 25 down, 25 back, 20 overhead squat, 30 burpees over the bar. That's lateral. You rest a minute, and then you do it reverse order. 30 burpees over bar, 20 overhead squat, 10 50-foot shuttle runs. First impression on this workout is there really is no area to fully pace this out, including the shuttle runs. In most cases, when we've seen shuttle runs in CrossFit Sport at this level, down from CrossFit HQ, it's usually a longer drawn out. You're really not going that fast. This is going to replicate that high school basketball suicide sprints, like to the free throw line, half court, other free throw, like how fast can you get these done? And that's something I think people need to put some thought into. Bobby, we don't do a lot of sprinting in CrossFit in general. How much are you looking at this part of the workout as something that you really need to hammer, or do you think it's more in that 70% effort range?
I think it depends on your goal for the workout for sure. Number one, depending on how the overhead squats are for you. But if you're someone that's looking at this and you want to take it on unbroken overhead squats, try to get the fastest score possible, yeah, you're going to need to push those harder than you want to. I would say that your goal should be for that after the rest minute, the second round, to try to make that faster, right? The entire round, try to make that one a little faster than the first one. So not to say to go slow on the first round, but if you can just dial back a little bit, I think that can set you up to really push hard and finish up strong.
Dan, do you think for a qualifying spot for the next stage, are you going into this saying this is one set of overhead squats both times?
I'm actually thinking the first set of overhead squats doing a 12-8.
Okay.
Just a really quick break.
Okay.
I think the second one is unbroken, and I think it should be unbroken.
Okay.
And like Bobby was saying, I think the second after the minute rest, that's all out, nothing left in the tank. You should be moving. I think it gets easier with each movement. You get through the burpees. If you can get into a good solid overhead position and just lock in and just, blank out and just push through, 115 is a weight that for a lot of people is not super heavy. And you should be able to keep that, thinking about good positioning, you should be able to stay through and get through those 20, because knowing that those last 10 shuttle runs is going to be an all out, whatever you got left. Yeah. It's kind of fun in a lot of ways. It's you don't get to sprint a lot in the end of a workout ever. It's like having a row at the very end where it's all right, well, I know this is going to hurt, but I know I can go harder than I ever could in a lot of other movements.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't remember the last time I've actually run shuttle runs hard. And I'm, it's weird because you can't really accelerate to a top speed. So I do think if there's one thing to practice, right? I think this is one that can be practiced a couple times, short, get a good warm up in, is practice. What does it mean to do a shuttle run faster? You're really not going to hit a higher mile per hour speed rate when you're running, but it's about the turnaround.
Yeah, let's change it.
Bobby, how do I turn around quicker? Like what, from an athlete perspective, like what's the focus there? Is I've seen athletes in the past, they start like overdoing this, like turnaround almost halfway through and they kind of finish the run going back. What did you think about when you have to just turn around quicker?
I'm always thinking about planting. So this might get a little bit too confusing, but you want to plant your inside leg. And I'm always going to be facing the same way. So if I'm facing one way, I'm planting my left leg, going one direction. As I come back the other way, I'm planting my right leg, always touching the ground with that leg. That's the inside leg. So that's the one I'm always touching the ground with. Just make it easier to shift your weight back and forth.
Okay. Is it likely, so from a qualifying perspective, and we'll get into, hey, not trying to qualify, that's not my goal, but from a qualifying perspective, are you looking at this as essentially a minute on average per movement? Is that realistic, Bobby?
It's realistic for some. The 30 burpees over the bar, that's likely going to take a little bit more than a minute. The shuttle runs, if you're moving fast, that's about 50 seconds to a minute. So I mean, realistically, because those overhead squats, you can finish them in 35, 40 seconds unbroken. So can you hold a minute average per movement? Yes. Will I? Not so sure about that.
Yeah. I guess the burpees will take over a minute for pretty much everyone, but the overhead squats, if you're unbroken, will probably be under a minute. So
correct. So it can average.
I don't want to give I don't like giving goal times for such a wide group of athletes. I do think if you are trying to qualify for a semifinal, you probably need to average about 115 per movement. And that gives you time, as Dan said, you could drop it. Dan, do you think it's important to squat snatch the first rep? You are allowed to squat snatch that. Is it important, or is it too risky in that you don't want to fail it or walk forward a little bit? Like sometimes it is quicker to power snatch quickly and then start going.
Yeah, I mean, that's a confidence thing for sure. If you are very confident in your squat snatch, it's going to be faster, and that's the way I'm going to attack it. I've done a lot of work on that. But if you're not confident, you don't want to miss that snatch for sure. So a power snatch, right, set up and then go right into this overhead squat. I don't think that's going to be so much of a time loss that especially if you're only doing 2 sets in the first one and 1 in the second one, or even if you're breaking it up 2 and 2 for both. I don't think it's a big problem.
Okay.
I think it's more of a problem if you miss.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And that anxiety right there, that fear of if you're not confident in it, like if it was a squat clean, I would be like, done. Squat snatch, like, I don't know if you're on the fence, like I'm kind of on the fence with it, I wouldn't bother, But last thing, Bobby, on this, how important is a warm up for this one? Because it is a high heart rate. I bet this is the highest our heart rate will get all weekend by the end. How important is a warm up for you on a workout like this?
This is one I'm definitely going to get my heart rate up on. I know a lot of people complain about my warm-ups at the gym, but this is definitely one where you're going to want to do that. Get your heart rate up, get on the assault bike, push a little bit, run your shuttle runs, practice your transitions, get back on the bike, hit a couple burpees over the bar, right? You're going to definitely want to warm all those up because you need to be moving fast in order to get this one done in your best time.
Okay. Great. So workout 2. So that's it for workout 1. We're going to work on to workout 2. This is the one that I've gotten the most amount of questions about, is what should I be doing on workout 2? And this is 80. Bear with me if you're watching on YouTube. But this is the one where you have to do 80 double dumbbell squat cleans. All right. I'm going to get this on the screen right now. All right. And 40 bar muscle ups. When I first saw this, I didn't even pick up on the fact that it's a choose your own adventure, meaning you break this up however you want. Okay. So this can be 10 rounds of 8 and 4. You can come up with a custom rep scheme. You can bang out your biggest set of bar muscle ups while you're fresh. Do whatever you want. And as a coach, this is a really hard one to give general advice on. And when we talk about all year, knowing yourself as an athlete, being mindful, understanding what you're good at, what you're bad at, and really kind of breaking yourself down throughout the year, you should probably have a decent plan for a workout like this. If you do that, if you ignore it, or you get too caught up into just being told what to do all the time and you're not reflecting, this one could cause a lot of anxiety, like no idea what to do. So Dan, let's start off with you. What do you think, before we talk about strategy, what is the limiter of this workout if you're just a somewhat balanced athlete? Like you're not a gymnast that struggles with lifting, you're not a lifter that struggles with gymnastics. What is the limiter in this workout that everyone should expect at some point?
I think grip is going to be the main thing, because just holding on to the dumbbells, holding on to the bar on the muscle up, it's just going to really, you don't get a break in there. So the more you go in, the harder it's going to be to hold on. Hopefully you're hook gripping. But I think that'll be the main thing that people might not expect.
Bobby, what about you with this workout? When you say, whoops, I think I just missed something. Okay, sorry. When it comes to this workout yes, grip is definitely going to be a factor. Do you try to think about keeping sets smaller so that you can get more rest just on the break, on the grip itself? Or do you like bigger sets on this, trusting your grip and understanding that that time of transitioning will help enough, and you have an opportunity to switch up your patterns as you go? Meaning the grip demand on a dumbbell squat clean is slightly different than what it is on a bar muscle up. You just different muscle activation. So I'm actually thinking, as you start getting really tired from grip on a squat clean, that doesn't necessarily mean you're not going to be able to hold on to the rig for a few reps. It just might mean like, wow, these squat cleans are getting a little too inefficient. I'm going to put it down and go bang out a set. Do you think that someone has to pick a rep scheme prior to the workout, or do you think it's possible to go based on feel?
I've went back and forth on this about 10,000 times, how I want to do the workout. I think that you definitely can base it on feel. I don't think that you could go with a plan, sure. But that doesn't always mean that that plan is going to work out. So you have to be able to maybe just go on the fly. So I do think that you can just go by feel. I think having an idea of what you want to do is probably best. And I think for most people, more sets with smaller chunks of work at a time is going to help, just because your heart rate's going to be up to, the leg fatigue is going to be like 80 dumbbell squat. When I first looked at this, I was like, oh, 80, 40. All right, that's not so bad. And then I started thinking, 80 is so many. What am I talking about? That's a lot of reps. So that's going to hurt. So I don't know. I was going back and forth. You could start with a bigger chunk of the bar muscle ups and end with a big chunk of the hang squat cleans. It's just do whatever you can in the middle, or go with a plan and see what happens. But yeah, I'm still struggling.
Yeah. And it's okay. And guys, I think if you're struggling about this leading up to the moment you start, you're like everyone else.
Right.
And I disagree with some people in the space that say there should never be choose your own adventure workouts, because I think one thing that gets overlooked, I know it's not one of the 10 general skills of CrossFit, is brain power and the ability to think and process. But I don't think it needs to be included in the top 10. Like, I think that about life, you should always be able to kind of break yourself down, be self-aware, and try to get a task done in any way possible. And I don't think we should be robots. That's why part of why I like CrossFit Sport. That's why I like getting workouts that I may not feel are the best tests of fitness, but it doesn't matter what I think. It really matters how do you respond to something like this. So I think it's a really fun adventure, if you will, for everyone to take this on and just be like, hey, you're going to learn a lot about yourself in this workout. I bet even you guys who we have 3 decades of experience of competing in this chat alone, we are going to learn things about ourselves in this workout. And so Dan, tell me this. This is a really common situation that a lot of people are in. They have muscle ups, but they're not always there. Like you and Bobby can pop up there anytime in a workout and say, hey, go do 5. Like, okay, fine, I'll do 5. Go do 10. Okay, I'll go do 10. Right? A lot of people are not like that. They have 1 or 2, and sometimes they fail them. Sometimes they're not there. Do you recommend starting the workout off, no matter what, with bar muscle ups, if that's your position?
Yeah, I think if you only have a couple in you and you're not sure, definitely start the workout with that, because you'll have plenty of time to get through the 80. But if you get through the 80 and then you have 3 bar muscle ups, that's going to be a pretty decent separator for people who have 0 muscle ups, right? And then the further in the workout you go, the much harder those muscle ups are going to feel. So for sure, if you struggle with bar muscle ups, I would say get as many as you can early, even if you can do like one, do a few, dumbbell squat cleans, and then get back, do one, or maybe stay at the bar for like about a minute or two and just try to get as many as you can done. And then just start hammering away, chipping away on the squat cleans for the rest of the workout.
Here's an interesting angle that I think the good gymnasts need to be very aware of. If you're not sure if you're going to finish this workout, okay, and the cap is pretty long, by the way. You will see people do this, I think, in about 7 to 8 minutes. Those are top times in the world, so don't stress if you're not there, okay? But if you're a gymnast that struggles with lifting, you better make sure you finish the 80 squat cleans. That's all. Because this tiebreak is really weird. This tiebreak is tough for judges, by the way. Your tiebreak is, if you don't finish, how fast do you get to 60 reps? So I'm going to give an example, and I want everyone to be aware of this. If I don't do a single bar muscle up and I get 80 reps, but you did all 40 bar muscle ups, and you got to 39 squat cleans, right? And that used 15 minutes, right? I'm going to beat your score if I got to 60 before you. Does that make sense? Now, if you finish the workout, your score will be will be better than anyone that does not finish the workout. Okay, obviously. But the tiebreak for anyone that does not get all these reps done, okay, your muscle ups are not worth more than the squat cleans. So that's something. If someone just does all 80 squat cleans and they got to 60 reps really quickly, meaning before you, because you spent a lot of time going back and forth between muscle up and squat clean, their time will be better if you have the same score at the end. So just be careful with if you're not sure if you can finish this workout or not, make sure within the window you get all those squat cleans done. That'll maximize your score compared to people that are not getting muscle ups. Bobby, do you think people should overanalyze that? Like, I mean, how can one figure out if they can finish this or not? Is there a way as a coach you would say, like, someone comes up to you and says, do you think I can finish this? Where does your mind go?
I think it just comes down to the muscle up proficiency for most people.
Yep.
If you're someone that you can only do 3 to 4, maybe 5 fresh at a time, realistically, like, do you have a shot at finishing this? You have a shot, but will you? It's going to be tough.
Yeah.
So I think it just comes down to how many muscle ups you can do.
And that probably does give some credibility to the thought of maybe I should bang out a big set at the start. Like if your max set is 8, maybe you start off with 8 and then just take
and then you chip away on the dumbbells, do a couple reps at a time on the muscle ups after.
Yeah, I like that plan for a lot of people. I'm thinking about a lot of people in my head right now, and that might be the way. Are you guys going to start? Like, you guys are both have a goal of semifinals. Where are you guys going to start?
So I'm going to do. I'm doing 4 bar muscle up, 8 squat cleans for 10 rounds is my goal. Okay. Starting with the bar muscle up, and just I toyed with doing like a big set to start, like a set of 10. But I think just staying in a good rhythm from the beginning and not like tiring myself out for no reason, I think I can manage that back and forth pretty quick. I think you have to, if you're going to do that kind of thing, I think you have to be disciplined in your transition. Like, you just get down, walk, pick them up, drop them, walk, get on the bar. Yeah. And my backup plan is, if it starts to feel like those bar muscle ups are getting really hard and I'm struggling to get my 3rd or 4th one, I'm just going to go down to 4 and 2 and just whatever I have left to do that. So that's kind of like my goal is to do 10 rounds, but if it falls apart, then I'll break it down in however many rounds it needs to. But I want to keep those sets like manageable in my head. I can always get up and do it.
Yep. Yeah, I think there's truth to knowing what's coming. Like there's truth to be like, hey, 10 rounds, 8 and 4, or 4 and 8, and then again, plan B is like cut something down in half. But if you're starting to fail or starting to get to a point you can't hold on anymore, or God forbid you might fail a muscle up or two, you do have the flexibility to maybe spend a little bit extra time at somewhere else. Last thing on this workout, because the dumbbell squat clean is a movement we don't do often. Most gyms don't do these often. I know I haven't done these often. Bobby, do you have advice on this? Is the most common question we get from movement perspective: dumbbells between the legs to a squat, or dumbbells outside the legs to a squat?
I cannot give you that information because it just depends. It depends on the person.
Competitive advantage.
Right? Yeah. No, it depends on the person. I know multiple people that go between the legs. They have a little bit of a wider stance. They don't move their feet. If you're going to go on the outside of the legs, your feet will be a little bit more narrow and you'll probably need to step your leg out. So it's really just what your comfort is on those. And I would definitely recommend practicing both and getting a good feel of both of them and seeing which is the most efficient for you and which one you feel most comfortable with, and just stick with that. Don't overthink it too much, but just see what feels good.
Yeah. Whatever feels more natural, whatever gets the dumbbells to the optimal position more efficiently. And you don't want those things in front of you. You want those things that ideally your hands are near your ears, over the midline. Yep.
I think also something that people should know is that the first rep you can clean from the floor. It doesn't, you don't need to establish a hang before on the first rep each time.
Okay, good. I actually didn't read that. So thanks for that, Dan, because that does absolutely matter.
That changes things. So you can transition much more and just pull it from the ground. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right. So next up, we will go to workout 3, which is the one that a lot of people, including these two guys, would prefer to do last. And before we get into that, Bobby and Dan, tell me why you think this should be done last. If you're getting into the order, at Bison, it's the Friday workout. A lot of these people, this is going to be the first one they do or second one. If they have to follow our class schedule, again, you have all the open gym times. You can vary it up as much as you want. But Bobby, touch on why you think this, for you, is last. So what advantages does it give you?
Yeah. So again, for me, I'm doing all 4 in 2 days. So I just need to try to prioritize what makes the most sense and what's going to be the most taxing overall on my body. And this one with 60 deadlifts, pretty heavy weight at a high intensity, this one is definitely going to fry my central nervous system, my hamstrings, my lats are going to be fatigued from this. So I just know that going in, if I tried to do something the day after this, that would it would probably take away from that, from my just fatigue level. So this would definitely be the one for me to hit last.
Yeah. Dan, what about you? Are you in the same frame of mind there?
Yeah, I think that the overall volume is not so high, but I think it's going to be the intensity that you can push this at. Like those, just doing sets of, at 10 deadlifts, or if you're doing 6-4, or you can do those fast, especially the first 3 rounds is a moderate weight. You should be moving it pretty decently. So I think that overall fatigue on the posterior chain is going to really affect anything else after this.
Yeah, this is, if you do this before the row workout, which is our next one that we're going to talk about, I bet your row will be slower. So I think just keep that in mind. Some of you guys have I don't want to say sensitive, but just kind of your low backs have a harder time recovering from a lot of workouts, and that could affect the dumbbell squat cleans. That's something to think about, especially if you're going in between the legs. You're going to be hinging more in between every rep. That'll become more taxing. It's going to be more demand on your grip. So I think in a perfect world, doing this last is a good idea, or at least giving yourself a rest day after this one.
Right. Yeah.
So if you take off Saturday and then come back Sunday, you have Monday as well until 3 p.m. Eastern. Maybe just not make this one the first one you do, because you're going to have to do one somewhat soon after. And so I agree that this one could do. The misconception on this one is going to be the weights. A lot of people are complaining that these workouts are not heavy enough. And I can see why someone would say that. I won't even disagree that it's on the light side for a quarterfinal stage. But I do think a lot of people are underestimating how heavy those last 3 sets of deadlifts will be. Not because the weight, but because of the fact that you did 30 deadlifts at 225/155, 2-3 minutes before you start that back hat, even more. You're going to be doing, this can be done a round per minute. It absolutely can be. You will see people doing this workout in 6 minutes. Someone said 4 minutes. I think Taylor Self said that. I would impossible. That will not be done in 4 minutes. I do think you'll see people doing this EMOM style. If you're good on the jump rope, that's 25 to 30 seconds of work. Factor in the transition. Deadlifts 1 to 1.5 seconds per 45-second rounds. Transition time a little bit. But you are looking at sub 6. That means the 275s and the 315 will not feel like 275 and 315. Bobby, for a qualifying spot, can I break these deadlifts up and still do a good job and get a good score for a qualifying caliber score?
Yeah, easy. No doubt.
Okay.
I think even starting on that first bar, you could break them up. Now, when I say break them up, you're not resting for 10 to 15 seconds between every set. But I think you could do, even if you did 4-3-3, if you broke it pretty quickly. That being said, the jump rope needs to be on, right? If you're breaking up and then you're tripping on the jump rope, that's a different story. You would want to break these deadlifts so that you can push the go unbroken on the jump rope and not be like dragging on the deadlifts themselves. So you have to be able to hit those jump ropes unbroken, or trip up, breathe, reset, and go.
Can I break up my jump rope 14 times in this workout?
yeah, for sure. Singles on the double unders. I
mean, hey, there's the other side to this, right? Everyone's looking at the weight. I'm still that guy. Like if I have a bad jump rope day, I'll trip up every set. Like I will, and I won't freak out. But if someone's in that frame of mind where like their jump rope's a little inconsistent, right? You guys are both really consistent. I'm not. Would you ever recommend saying, dude, go broke on the deadlifts, go for it? And then it gives you a little bit more margin on the jump rope, where like if you trip up, it's almost not a big deal. It's just like a little forced break. Time-wise, it's really no different than breaking up the deadlifts on purpose. And someone like myself and people that maybe aren't trying to qualify, but they're trying to get their best score, it's almost like, hey, if I go really high effort on the deadlifts and I have the capacity to do so, it actually kind of makes the jump rope a little less stressful. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the mental game on that is helpful to know that you're getting through the deadlifts quicker, so that you can. It's almost like you're building in the trips in your mind. Like, all right, that's fine. You just keep going, because the main thing always is staying calm through double unders. Like when you start tripping up, the more aggravated you get, the worse it's gonna get for you. So it's not a bad idea. If you have the capacity, I'd say go for it, because you're gonna get the extra rest in the double under time. And I think, like you said, those later weights are going to feel super heavy. So, it might not go as planned at that point, but
right.
It's a good way to start.
Now, the tiebreaker is after the deadlifts each set. So we do have people in quarterfinals that this is like you're approaching 90% of your 1 rep max. So if I put 90% of your guys' 1 rep max on one of these barbells, the last one, this is a different workout for you. You're not thinking touch and go. You're thinking 1 or 2 at a time, maybe. What's your general plan? I know you guys have been there before with workouts that have weights that you might not be able to touch, or they're just really heavy for you. Do you like to try and get a better tie break time and go really fast with the weights you can manage, but it could fry you for the end? Or do you like keeping reps in reserve, meaning I'm not going that fast early on so to have more juice? There's no right or wrong. It's different for everyone. But again, I want to talk to some people that are looking at this third barbell. You're going to get there, but man, that is going to be a nasty weight for me. Would I rather slow myself down early to have more opportunity to get more reps, or would I rather go as fast as I can for the sake of my tie break time? What's the general guidance there, Bobby?
I think if you have the ability to lift that final bar and you're planning on it, I think you should keep a little bit in reserve so you can get more reps. I think that should always be the plan.
Okay.
But if you think like there may be no shot of me lifting this bar, then you have no other option than to push on the other bars prior to that and get a better tie break time.
Yeah, similar to 26.2. If you didn't have ring muscle up, it was just get there as quickly as you can. Good. Important to note, everyone, you can set up multiple barbells for this. So if you have people around that can help you with changing weights, that's an option as well. Make sure those people know exactly what to do when it comes to adding weight to the barbell, because someone that's really good on jump rope, that's 25 seconds of work. And if someone's really trying to move through this, that's not a lot. Like that might not be enough time for one person to change both sides of the weight. Especially, I've seen people that are not the strongest, like they just can't get the bar off the ground to slide weights on a heavy deadlift bar. And that would be frustrating for an athlete to get to the barbell and they're not allowed to lift it yet, especially if they're shooting for like a really quick time. So I would say you have two options here. Get two people to help you out so they're in charge of one side of your barbell, or set up multiple barbells. It would look kind of funny, but you could set up 3 barbells for this and just kind of work your way down the ladder. You don't have to worry about camera angles or anything like that. Or you could set up 2 barbells. So have your first 2 set up, and then someone can change that. They're going to have 2-3 minutes to set up change that first barbell to the third barbell weight. So again, these are things competitors, like you got to think about this stuff now. This is what to do now. It's not go do assault bike sprints. It's not go practice every workout. You want to think about every little nook and cranny of the workout. And that's something to ponder. Is there anything else on this workout that you guys think about with logistics, spacing, strategy that we didn't touch on?
No, I don't think so. I think you just nailed the last one with the barbells.
Yeah, I mean, pretty simple workout, guys. And like that's another thing I like about these workouts. They're simple CrossFit where you can pursue intensity. There's not a ton of strategy other than the muscle up one, but even that, it's still intensity based, which is why I do like these workouts. Last one, guys, and this is actually the one. Coda, are you doing this one first as well?
Yep.
Okay, so all 3 of us are doing this one first. Bobby and I are going to try to do this one tomorrow afternoon. We both have young kids, so you just never know what our schedule is going to be. But our plan is to do this one first tomorrow, like right after the window starts, at around 3:45 p.m. And I'm looking forward to doing this one with Bobby because it's the only one I can really stay with him on, and until we get to the strict handstand push-ups. But it'll be fun to do it with him, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's also the longest workout of the weekend. I would say, yeah, this will probably be the longest one for everyone, no matter what level you're pursuing. So keep this in mind that over half the time in this workout is going to be spent on the rower. And the intensity of the other 2 movements is not going to tax you that much for the rest of the weekend. I know strict handstand push-ups can really beat you up, but if they beat you up, you're probably doing 1 or 2 at a time. And most of your time is spent looking at the wall. We've all been there. I really don't think this is going to beat you up that much. So I like doing this one first, and it's out of your head. You don't need to think about it, and it probably won't affect you for the rest of the weekend. So it's a 1,000-meter row, 30 clean and jerks. It's Grace, by the way. Another 1,000-meter row, and then 30 strict handstand push-ups. The number one question I've gotten so far, what should my row pace be? Dan, you are a solid rower. You're pretty good at pulling. Your strict handstands are one of your weaknesses, but you put a ton of work on them. You and Bobby have done a lot. And I was watching you yesterday. Like, they really have come a long way. Like, this is a different workout for you now than it was 2 years ago.
For sure.
What does a guy like you, because I'm telling you, most people that are doing this workout are in the same boat. They're looking at like, cool, workout's fun until the handstand push-ups. Is that on your mind while you row? Like what row pace do you plan on being at?
Yeah, for sure. I know that for me, those strict hand push-ups is the workout for me. So I want to get there feeling as good as I can. I think the first row, my row pace, which, you know, if those did not exist and it was just the other stuff, I would probably be in the mid 140s or upper 140s. But I'm looking at both of these rows in the around 155. Okay. Knowing that, you know, maybe I lose 20 to 30 seconds over other people at my level to get to the wall. But then when I get to the wall, I should feel fresh enough that I can start taking on those sets that I need to be able to finish this in a decent amount of time, versus if I am totally gassed when I get there, I know for me that just turns into singles, you know, and failure because I'm just so tired. So yeah, this is definitely not going to hurt. I feel like as bad as it could if I'm good at handstand push-ups.
Yeah. Bobby, good rower, good barbell. This is a really good workout for you. Just good CrossFitter in general. But my question to you is, do you think about the barbell is also a common question. I think a lot of people are like touch and go or singles. What is your plan and why on that?
Barbell, I'm going to go singles from the beginning. I
Okay.
really don't think there's a need to try to go touch and go and set a world record on my grace time in the middle of this workout. I think singles on it. Just stay over the barbell. Have to be disciplined. Follow the bar back to the ground. Don't move your feet around. Don't step away from it. Stay right on top of it. And if you can just stay consistent, do one at a time, and get it done somewhere between 2.5 to 3-ish minutes, that's still moving through it pretty well. And I think that would set you up better than trying to finish it in 2 minutes or less. It's not that much time.
Right.
But the amount of effort you're putting into it and your heart rate getting jacked up can really affect everything else.
Yes, that's a good point. That I think you're capable of going touch and go, but it's almost pointless because the time that you gain on it will be pretty much lost on both the row and handstand push-ups after.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that the movement's hard, it's that you don't lose tension, right? You're always tense, you're always holding on. Like grace can be done in 1:30 when it's unbroken. Grace all singles is like 3 minutes or less. It's really not a huge gap, but the heart rate can actually come down a little bit. I do want to challenge everyone though. And I think all three of us are going to feel this as well. When you get to rep 20, you got to suck it up. Like you cannot walk away from that bar. If you're trying to again, the qualifying people, right? If you're trying to qualify for semis, you cannot walk away from that bar. You cannot put your hands on your knees. Even if you're good at handstands and decent at rowing, again, we're not shooting for minimums here. I think the challenge for you needs to be get to 20 and then suck it up. Do not walk away from the bar. How much slower, Dan and Bobby? Bobby, you answer this first. Do you anticipate your second row being slower than your first? And is it okay if that's the case?
It's okay, depending on how much slower it is.
Yeah.
I think you should be trying to push that one a little bit. I think the first one should be a little bit slower. The second one should be a little bit harder.
Okay. The cap is long, just so you know.
Plenty of time, yeah.
So, and I bring that up because I don't know how relevant the tiebreaker will be. That the tiebreaker is the second row, but a lot of people are going to finish this workout, a lot. And so I don't think you need to sprint the last row, but I do think I practiced a half a round of this yesterday, and I'm not Mr. Handstand Pushup. I think my max set is probably 22, 23 unbroken. I think I could do that now. I'm not sure. And I got up there. I rested about 15, 20 seconds before starting the last set of handstands, and I didn't feel any deficiency in my handstand push-ups at all. So I would go into saying you will feel close to 80 to 90%, other than breathing heavy, on your strict handstand push-ups. So that actually was encouraging me to be like, I agree. Let's push the row, not just for the tiebreaker, just for your actual time. But if you don't finish, if you really do struggle with handstand push-up, that second row is the tiebreaker. So that's going to be a big part of this. Dan, when you get to a point, this is going to happen to almost everyone. When you get to a point of failure or near failure on handstand push-ups, what goes through your head? Because a lot of people don't have like a light in their head that says, okay, go do it. Like you have to take a chance at some point. And the worst thing to happen is you either fail or your feet come off the wall and it doesn't count. And you do you stay on the conservative side there, or do you try to be a little more aggressive?
I definitely stay conservative because I know like once my shoulders go, it's just totally gone. So like even like if let's say I'm trying to do sets of 4, if my third set feels really tough, I just come off the wall right there. I try to shake it out. And early on, I'm trying to do no more than 10-second breaks. So I'm trying to either count in my head or look at the clock and get right back on. Because the moment I struggle through and I fall back down to my head, that's like 30 seconds of rest coming up, right? I'm trying to be as conservative as I can with the shoulders, for sure.
Yeah. Try to keep your butts off the wall on top of those handstand guys. Like it's a lot of you guys do it subconsciously, but when you put your ass on the wall, you're resting against the wall and it's not on your shoulders. That's why we naturally do it. It gives your shoulders relief. But if you have a real judge, it won't count. So just make sure at the top of that rep, your butt is not touching the wall. And because the worst thing you do is do a rep and you don't get credit for it. Bobby, it's probably within your scope to do 30 in a row at the end. And if you don't, I'm gonna yell at you during the workout. No, but And Dan has a number in his head, 10 to 15 second break. I'm on the Dan side. Like I have failed hands. I've seen people fail, and you're just watching them fail over and over again. It's like, man, just literally take a minute off. When you're a higher level athlete and you are trying to really push your score on this, do you have a set amount of time, or does it start earlier? Do you have a feeling that you have on handstands? Like, ooh, I know I could do another one or two, but I'm just going to come down. Where's the line for you as an athlete? I know it's all internal, but can you kind of put it in words? What is the feeling for you of when should you come down and how long should you rest in between sets?
Well, first of all, I've felt plenty of handstand push-ups in my day, just like you guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for something like this, the end of it, I'm going to try to push it as much as I can. That being said, like anybody else, if I get to the point where my shoulders give out and I fail a handstand push-up, a strict handstand push-up, that's going to be devastating, because I too will take 30 way too long. But if I come in, I know I could do sets of 10. So if I come in, do 10 really quick ones, come down, shake it out, rest 10 seconds, get back up, do 10 more, come down, shake it out. That I could do, but it's going to depend on feel. If I do 10, I feel like, okay, I could still bang out a few more. I'm going to do 15, see how those feel, then come down. So it will come down to feel if necessary, but that's what I'm thinking.
This is where experience comes in. Like, I always feel like people that have experience have so much of an advantage over so many workouts. Like, you could just recall so many different moments where, like, you touched the iron, you got burned. I'm not doing that again. Or, hey, I put all this work in. Like, I should be better than last time. So those pieces of advice really do help. So to wrap this up, guys, I had a feeling this was going to go past the time cap. Hopefully I'm not screwing up your day. The last thing I want to talk about is just like, what is your one bit of advice to people that are going to, no matter what your goal is? This brings up, I don't want to call it anxiety. I don't want to get too serious on here, but there's nerves. I got to go to the bathroom. There's doubt, self-doubt. What is something that you guys have both worked with Rafi? I've worked with Rafi. You have a lot of experience. You guys are coaches. You're also athletes. What are some things that you can pull together that might help someone that's just kind of like, hey, I can't lock in my thoughts right now. I can't focus. There's too many things going on. What's something that can really truly help someone just stay tunneled vision throughout these 4 tests of fitness?
Yeah, I think
you go first.
Yeah, I think that one big thing is just focus on the task at hand. Don't start, once you've figured out like what order you're doing them or whatever, just don't think about the rest of the weekend. Think about your next workout, think about how you're going to attack it, and know that you're going to be more nervous than any other normal workout because it matters a little bit more to you. You probably care a little bit more. You don't want to, you want to do your best. But if you just focus on just what's in front of you, that'll help a lot over the full weekend.
Yeah. Bobby.
For me, I mean, these are just workouts like you do any other day, right? You do these all the time. Are they a little harder? Maybe, or maybe you're just making them harder in your own mind. So really at the end of the day, you just need to have fun with it. This is a great opportunity to display your fitness to yourself, to your peers, to everyone at the gym. So have fun and don't put too much stress on yourself, because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah, that's a good point. It doesn't. Last thing I'll put in is one thing I've always tried to tell myself, because a lot of people kind of waver with their confidence levels. Like, hey, I'm locked in. Hey, it's been a rough few months, blah, blah, blah. I think the results from this weekend, whether you're happy or upset about them, it's the sum of near decades worth of just life experiences and training and work. It's not just what you did the last 3 months in the gym. It's not just what your nutrition looks like right now. And the only thing you can control right now is just being proud of how hard you go in these workouts and like how locked in you can stay. If you can walk out of every single workout and say, I'm really proud of how hard I tried in that workout and how positive I remained. And like, I didn't let those negative thoughts overcome. There's nothing better than being proud of that. It's not about where you rank. It's not about who beat you or who you beat or even qualifying for the next stage. At this point, the only thing you can truly do is really hurt yourself with bad thoughts, negative thoughts, anxiety, comparing yourself to someone else or comparing what you did 5 years ago. None of that matters. The only thing that matters is the moment, what you're doing right now. And you get to control that. You get to make that decision prior to the workout. This is what I'm going to be thinking about during these struggle points. You'll be proud of it. You'll be better for it. And I bet your performance will actually be better because of that. So trust your training, trust what you've done over your entire lifetime. You are in a very exclusive group of people, right? We don't want to make anyone feel better or worse, but you're top 25% in the world in the hardest fitness program on the planet Earth. That's pretty freaking cool. And I hope you guys can keep that front and center as you take on these tests of fitness. So that's going to wrap it up, guys. We wish you luck. Hit us up if you need any help. Bison athletes, you're going to kick ass. We got your back from start to finish. And a lot of you started 2 days ago. So the next time we do it, it's going to be a repeat already. Just kidding, everyone. We will see you guys at the gym. Thank you. Bye, guys. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time out of your day to listen to the Herd Fit podcast. Be on the lookout for next week's episode.